Hey, this G Butterfly. Welcome to the Watch and Whisper channel. Today we're talking about Married to Medicine Season 9, Episode 9. And the show starts off with Mason telling Quad that he's mad. I thought it was so funny. I love to see the interaction between Quad and her nephew. And I really wish the producers would show more of them. Because in my opinion, he is the scene stealer for this entire season thus far. Alrighty, so you know I got my trusty notes. So when you see me looking down, you know I'm looking at my notes trying to keep up with what I wrote. So Heavenly arrives at Damon's second pain medicine clinic. He has the first one in Roswell, and I think he said he's opened up a second one somewhere else. And he appears to be genuinely happy to see Heavenly. And they discuss the events that happened at Simone and Cecil's house. He said he didn't want any issues, and he just wanted to be a peacemaker. Heavenly admitted that she and Contessa are still not in a good place. And I really hope they can find some kind of common ground as the season goes on. We'll see how that turns out. Contessa and Scott discussed the contention between the two ladies, and she said that she understood the pain that Heavenly was going through, because Heavenly's mother at this point in the season is on hospice. And you know, when you go on hospice, it means that your death is not far away. And Heavenly is dealing with that because she said her and her mother were very, very close. So Scott is just telling her, you know, just remember what you went through. Try to show a little compassion and understanding. And Contessa genuinely seemed like she cared. And she said Heavenly is like her sister. She loved her. And right now, Heavenly just need a pass because of what she's going through. She continues to feel that way, and they can move forward in a more positive direction during this season. Contessa said that when she said that she and Heavenly were like sisters, Scott was like, man, y'all are fighting a little bit more than how sisters do. And I think that just lightened the mood a little bit. But she said she just does not want to be the one to cause anybody any pain. This was a funny scene because Audra and her husband went to see the wedding planners. They say that due to COVID, they got marriages at the courthouse. But now they want to have just a wang dang doodle of an event. And they are over budget. They went to see the wedding planner, and they were told that the linen was $40 per. And it's so funny. She said, oh, we got some extra sheets at home. Can we just cut those up? So I thought that was funny. But you can tell that the wedding planner and her assistant, and I think it was somebody else sitting over to the side, they were just looking, and it didn't look like they thought their jokes were funny. But to Audra and her husband, Martin, they thought it was funny, although they were very conscious that they were over budget on this wedding. Budget was set at $60,000. And at the time that they showed this show, they were $50,000 to $60,000 over budget. Audra said that she had received an invoice for flowers, and it was $25,000. I was like, wow. Martin, because of Audra's culture, would be expected to bring her a suitcase full of gifts when they get married. He said, oh, I seen a whole lot at Ross, and I can take them back in 30 days because you got a 30-day return policy. I thought that was so funny because he was lightening the mood. But sometimes when people say things funny to lighten the mood, it may be a real serious undertone to that. And he told her, he said, you know, you're very expensive. And I know most times when husband and wives get married, the husband wants to make his wife happy. And he may be doing all of this wedding to make it a grand event. He may be doing all this to make Audra happy. But when he said little things like that, you can tell that maybe he's thinking about his pocket. So Anila and her mom are in the car. And I've said all along, Anila is getting on my damn nerve about these kids. She has 2 kids, and you would think she have 10 of them, and she living in a ramshackle house with making about $300 a week. That's how she's acting, and truly getting on my nerves. So the producer shows a scene from the house, and Anila is complaining that someone didn't take their shoes off, and her floors were going to be damaged. And you can see her running to try to get something to clean up the floors. She said the kitchen isn't as clean as it could be, but at least her mom is feeding her kids. I thought that was very shady and lazy on her part. Because if your mom's feeding the kids, Neela, why you can't clean your own damn kitchen? I'm just not understanding that. I'm really not. Anila says she has so much to do and so much blogging she has to do that she didn't even have time to see her kids the day before. How much blogging are you doing, Anila, where you didn't have time to see your children? Something not right with this picture. That's just my opinion. But I'm going to keep on going. She also said she couldn't have a random babysitter because they may not know how to drive and may not be safe with her kids. But she almost wrecked her car when she said that, and her mother both were riding without a seatbelt. So who's not being safe, Anila? Maybe that was just production showing you in a very unsafe light, talking about your kids and safety. Wait, Anila is opening a luxurious hair showroom with virgin Indian hair. She wants her customers to have an experience, and there's nothing wrong with that. She and her mom go to the store location with her business partner, and I didn't get his name, I'm sorry, I forgot to write it down. But she's also meeting with David, her designer. But why his pants was too cute? Now you can tell he was a little eccentric and over the top, but his pants, honey, was cute. I said, oh, I could rock those with a cute top and some high heels. So again, his pants was cute. My mom was very engaging with the plans, but was not seeing their vision. She felt like they were just spending too much money, and why this and why that and da 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 da. Sometimes Anila mama need to just fall back and let Anila be grown. Dr. Jackie met with two podcasters from a show called Dumb Gay Politics. One of the ladies asked if she could shower before going to get her well woman exam. I was surprised at why she had to ask that question, because she didn't look like she was a young teenager. Looked like she was a full-grown woman. But maybe that's not something that she just ever discussed with somebody. But I just thought it was strange that a grown woman would ask, is it okay to take a shower before going to a well woman exam? So she said, so she was talking, this was the one who asked about the shower. She was speaking in terms of her, I guess, friend, partner, whatever the lady was who was sitting there. She said, ooh, her vagina is like a wood-burning fire pizza oven. I say, what in the whole Italian food hell is going on when she said all of that? You know what? I thought a lot of ways I could touch that, but I said, I'm going to just leave that alone. Now, Jackie said same-sex women in a relationship have a higher rate of breast cancer than women who are in monogamous relationships. And when she first said it, I was like, what? But she went on to explain that a lot of women who are in same-sex relationships tend to not go to the OB-GYN as often because they feel like they're at less risk of catching something than if they were with a male partner in a heterosexual relationship. And Dr. Jackie said, no, if they're still touching body parts and doing all those things, they still need to go and get breast exams, mammograms, get checked for ovarian cancer and all those type things. So the lady agreed to have a exam while she was there. Not the one who asked if she could have had a shower, but the one who she said, oh, she has a fire burning pizza oven down there or whatever. That friend had the her name was Brandy. She had the well woman exam because she said she hadn't had one since 2014. So that's been, what, about 8 years? And she looked very uncomfortable. Now, this is something, I'm a full-grown woman, so I've been through these exams many times in my life. And the lady looked very tense. She looked very uncomfortable. And if you noticed, Dr. Jackie never said relax. She never said move your legs east-west. She just left them up, and they were just kind of straight up like this versus being like that. And I just could tell looking at the lady, I said, yeah. She said, does my vajayjay look okay? Dr. Jackie said, yeah, everything looks fine. But the lady was very, very uncomfortable. So I was glad she went through with the exam and got everything over and done. Hiring. He decided he wanted to plan an event for the guys. So I thought that was pretty cool. And he actually planned a good event. He hosted the Bourbon, Burgers, and Botox event for the guys. So he told them they had to dress up dapper Dan style, just look real nice and just look grown. That's pretty much what he was saying. He needed the guys to look grown. So he had someone, business owner there, Colette's Catering Incorporated. She cooked some food that looked very good. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think this is the same lady who did the catering event for Jackie and or Simone's event the last 2 weeks. They were getting mini manicures. They were having bourbon tasting, chair massages, and Botox injections. And he said that the wives were not invited because they wanted to have a free evening. I said, good thing, because had them wives come, they would have popped off with some shit like they always do. So I was glad that it was just the guys. All of the guys was there. It was Curtis, Cecil, Martin, Eugene, Damon, and then Scott eventually came there. It was so funny because when Scott was coming up, he saw Curtis's, I don't know what kind of car that is, but it's a real old school car that looks very nice. It's white. And he was just doing his selfies like click, click, click about a car. And he told Curtis, man, I knew you was here. I saw your car outside. Curtis said, you didn't touch it, did you? He said, no, man, I just took a picture. And it's so funny because production is so messy. Production flipped back to when Scott was outside. His hand was all on Curtis' car while he was taking his pictures. So I thought that was pretty neat. So the guys were not initially interested in any of the Botox injections, and they all said why they didn't want to. You know, they had their reasons, so they didn't do it. Scott acknowledges that although Heavenly and Contessa were at odds, that he and Damon are in a good place, and he just want to keep it like that. And again, men don't get into all that cattiness like women do. Gene asked the guys if their wives had the O shot and how did they like it. And it's so funny because Kiran was like, man, my mother-in-law was with my daughter and she didn't get it. Well, Eugene must have misunderstood what he said, because Eugene was like, man, don't let your mother-in-law get that shot because she will break her husband's hip. I thought that was so funny. Oh my God, I thought that was funny. Well, Damon had a transparent moment, and Damon said that he had the Bio-T hormone therapy replacement, and it actually increases a man's testosterone level, and I think it's like a gradual increase. And Damon said after he got it, he felt very young and vibrant again. He said Heavenly didn't want him to continue to get the pellets, so he ended up stopping. And Heavenly was on a confessional. She was like, if he kept taking them pellets, he was going to need 3 bitches. And I thought it was so funny because maybe it really increased his libido. And Heavenly was like, we just can't keep doing this. So they didn't say that, but that's what I got out of that. But Eugene said the guys were working really hard and that they really needed to focus on themselves. And a lot of times guys miss self-care and not really take the time to just pamper themselves. So a lot of the guys were getting manicures, chair massages, and I thought it was funny how Martin was getting a chair massage and they kind of switched it up on him, and the guys just played a little harmless joke, and Curtis was the one doing his back massage. So they kept talking to Martin while his face was down in the little hole, so he couldn't see who was massaging him, and the guys kept talking about a bunch of random stuff to keep him engaged, so he didn't realize that it wasn't one of the ladies that was doing one of the massages. So I thought that was a cute little scene. Eugene said that he's seriously thinking about making a professional career change. Kiran said that Anila is his human pincushion because he's I think an oculoplastic surgeon, and she was like, oh yes, because you see I never have any lines because I get all of these injections and da 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 da. But I thought it was strange that he called his wife his human pincushion. Go figure. Toya goes to the Faith Center to see Lady C, who is her spiritual advisor. Now in 2021, and I'm going to look down because I wrote a lot of notes about this because this was a very kind of dark place in the episode. In 2021, Toya said that she needed to determine where her stress was coming from. Was it COVID or was it Eugene? And in 2021, the entire world was going through the pandemic. But I thought it was an interesting choice of words when she said, was it COVID or Eugene? So in my interpretation of that, she felt like the stress her husband could have been causing her was to the magnitude of COVID-19. I was like, wow, that's saying a lot right there. So she got kind of emotional when she discussed the absence of Eugene's emotions. And she said Eugene had his own issues and it was starting to weigh on her. Toya, do you realize that Eugene worked in the emergency room through a pandemic that none of us have seen in our lifetime? Only someone working in an emergency room or ICU for that matter would understand the magnitude of what was seen daily, the stress that was put on anyone who worked in an emergency room, the stress that was put on doctors, nurses, from the EVS workers, the techs, the x-ray technicians, the PCAs, medical assistants, patient access, anyone who had any type of dealing with a patient during COVID had a level of stress that you normally would not have. And that stress has not ended because COVID is still going strong, and now we have monkeypox, but that's a whole nother subject. But in my mind, I'm thinking, Toya, you were a stay-home mom. The highest level of stress you had was probably helping your kids do their homework, watching it on TV, and then probably hearing bits and pieces from your husband when he comes home. But for you and your selfishness to say that he had issues and he just wasn't there for you emotionally, I thought that was some low-down, dirty-ass thinking when it came to your husband. Toya, that was some foul shit for you to say. That's just my opinion. I just can't believe that she didn't understand what he was going through. I don't know. One thing I do know is working in the emergency room can cause you to become desensitized to a lot of things. And going through what he went through during COVID, treating patients every day, not knowing if he was going to get the disease, die from it, take it home to his family, possibly them dying from it, trying to make sure that everybody's okay in an atmosphere where no one at one time didn't know the answers. So I thought Toya going to see the therapist. Now, don't get me wrong. Going to see someone to seek help is good. But the way that production showed this part for her, this scene for her, it made it look like she was putting all of the blame for how she felt on Eugene. I said, that was some fucked up shit, Toya. That was very, very, very messed up. Eugene goes to see Damon at his Roswell clinic location, and he just wanted to see what life could be like after working in the emergency room. The impression that he's very tired in the emergency room and he wants to leave. I wouldn't be surprised if Dr. Damon let him run his other clinic just so he can have a job. Not just so he can have a job, because I'm sure he's probably fully qualified to get another job somewhere. But Dr. Damon probably would be comfortable in his abilities to do the job in his other clinic. So if that happened, I wouldn't be surprised. And if it happens, remember you saw this on the Watch and Whisper channel, and I called it. Eugene said that COVID was very overwhelming when it was going through, and he looked so vulnerable when he was sitting there talking to Damon. You can tell that was coming from an emotional place, and he's very tired, and probably tired of Toya's shit too. I'm just throwing that in because he ain't say that, but that's what I think. So Toya says that her kids noticed that she wasn't happy, and she said that she blamed Eugene's long working hours for her unhappiness. Just sorry. She said that this wasn't the life that she wanted. I wonder what life does she want and who she wanted with. That's the real question. So about Lady C, that she and Eugene needed to be more intentional about their time and their commitment to their marriage. So we're going to see how that's going to work out. She said Eugene needs a wife to be encouraging and supportive. But how does she give him that when he doesn't give her that? I don't even want to touch that. I guess you can tell I'm Team Eugene on this one. Anila and her mother talk about the disarray of her kitchen. And when the camera panned, yeah, they had shit everywhere. I get that. But she has a daughter who looks like she's about maybe 6 years old, and a son who looks like he's about maybe 3 years old. And at that age, they should understand to pick up behind themselves if you just teach them. I can remember my granddaughter is now 5, and when she was about 1, I remember her mom started singing this little song to her, clean up, clean up, clean. That sticks in my head because now we do it with my 2-year-old granddaughter. But as soon as my granddaughter, and it was just conditioning, as soon as my granddaughter would hear that, immediately she would start picking up her things and putting it up. So even at 5, my 5-year-old granddaughter is singing that to my 2-year-old granddaughter while we're trying to teach her about cleaning up behind herself. So that lets me know Anila ain't did a damn thing with teaching her kids nothing. That's just my opinion based on what I see on the screen. She may be totally different. And if she is totally different, she need to be pissed off with production because they're making her look like a sorry ass mama, in my opinion. She was telling the mom, just upset with the mom because the kitchen was in a total disarray. The mama just flat out told her, you need to teach your kids to put the dishes in the sink. Anila said, no. I'm like, why would you not want your children to learn how to clean behind themselves? You Anila, getting ready to allow your kids to be raised to be little sloppy adults if they are not taught as children how to clean behind themselves. And Anila said, Miss Gomez was not only a nanny, she was everything. She was everything, Anila, probably because you weren't doing anything. You think? Well, Anila has gotten on my nerve, and this inability to take care of her kids. I said it the last couple of episodes. She need to get it together. Guess what? Because mothers and fathers out here are doing it every single day with far less, and they're making it work. Now, is it always easy? No, but the position that you are in, Anila, and I'm talking to you, Anila, the position that you are in, you don't have the issues that they have. You just need to get it together and take care of your own damn kids. What you have them for? Security? She wants her mom to be a nanny, a housekeeper, a grandmother, and a cook. She didn't want her mom to come there. She just wanted her mom to come there to do all the work that she does not want to do. And that is very evident based on how we see her treat her mom. And she's only been there 2 weeks. I'm like, God damn, you want them to be like, is she paying them? Probably not. But if you want somebody to be all those things, that means you need to hire somebody to do all those things. The mom said, I'm the grandmother. And then when she seen Anila getting worked up, she's like, you know what? I'll go do what you got to do. I'll help the kids. I'll help pick up some of this stuff later. Anila said, I'm 42 and you can't tell me what to do. Well, if I'm remembering correctly, at 42, she told you don't get an O shot. And you just backed on down like this and didn't get it. Well, that was the end of the episode, and let's just see how it turns out next week. Please get in the comments and tell me, what did you think about this week's episode? It was pretty interesting. I liked it. So get in the comments and tell me, what do you think about them not showing Quad as much, about Damon and Heavenly's conversation, and Scott and Contessa's conversation about what's going on between the four of them. What did you think about Kiran's event? And what do you think about Anila and what she's doing as far as her household and her kids? Well, this G Butterfly, and I'm coming to you live from my couch today talking about Married to Medicine, Season 9, Episode 9. Get in the comments. Thanks for coming over to my channel.